Heyo everybody, Haku here with my live reaction or read through for Marriage Toxins, July chapters? So we have chapters 171 to I think 174, and I'm going to attempt to not have this be the longest intro ever, but I've thought about Marriage Toxin a lot. I thought about it a ton after last month's video, and I haven't been able to discuss that with you all. So starting off, I will say that when I first did the video, I was like, oh, I feel so bad being negative about things and not liking things and ending on a sour note like that. And I was like nervous about posting it, but then I edited and I'm like, no, I'm not that extreme. I'm kind of right about all my complaints. My complaints really mainly not trying to repeat things a million times, but being that having the characters be just kidnapped and held in stasis like this really hurts them individually, but it also hurts the main story that's going on. Like before, we didn't have to worry about any of this stuff when Gero and Kinosaki and Peachy and Arashiyama are going off to the Dogo Animal Kingdom. But now, for like any arc we could get, it's like, the development off screen is stalled. So before we had the characters and we know that they were interacting with Gero a bit, texting and all of that. They were developing on their own whenever they weren't like the main focus of an arc. But since getting kidnapped, it's like, okay, if they're not in the arc, they're literally trapped in stasis. They're literally not developing at all on their own. Their relationships aren't deepening. They aren't finding alternatives to being with Gero, and they aren't deepening their relationship with him. And when we are in an arc, there's also the distraction of anytime there's any comedy, anything goofy, anything funny, it's like, okay, meanwhile, somebody we're supposed to care about is being held hostage. Someone's being held hostage and we're just goofing off. So it distracts from the main story of an arc, and it also doesn't help. It really hurts the development of the waifu candidate characters. There are also things like, oh, we're going to force the harem route because we found these 6. You know, you can make arguments for each of them. I mean, I guess with Ureshino and Areshino, it's just money. Himikawa is a bit of a question mark, but you know, genetically, okay, you could have some blood from the Beast family, even if it is just a branch member. It's a formerly powerful branch with Arashiyama, or Ushio has special unique abilities. Okay, you can make these arguments. Akakura is really compatible with the Gero blood. So you can make the arguments, but why? Why these 6? Why is 6 the cutoff? It's questionable there. And one of the things that I didn't even remember till I was about to come record that is really, really frustrating is all the buildup we've had with the Kirishima family, and it's like, okay, they've already been destroyed, but apparently this isn't big news, but they've already been destroyed, and Nasu is using their abilities. So Nasu is already taken over as one of the great families, even though he's basically just working for the Gero family, and he's also taken out and is using the abilities of another great family. So really the only real great families are Gero, Arima, and Dogo, which is so disappointing. All the build up, and it's resolved in half a chapter. It's like, oh yeah, this is what happened to the Kirishima family. This is what they could do. That's it. You're not getting any more of them because they're done. It's so disappointing. It's such an unnecessary kneecapping of your own world building. It's so sad. So there's a lot that I'm having issues with right now, and a lot of it centers around Nasu, and the arc stories have been great, but the main overarching story has just really fallen apart with this Nasu stuff ever since the Nasu reveal. Like, the kidnappings were a detriment, but at least they might have been going somewhere. But ever since the official Nasu reveal to Gero, the main story has just been in the dumps because of it. So I really, for me personally, I just want to cut him out of the story, get rid of him, and move on from here. Free everybody, let them go live their lives or whatever. Because it feels like with us getting that resolution of the Kirishima and Sakazuki and all, it feels like if we're bringing that in, okay, are we heading toward an ending? But I really hope we aren't. Unless we're doing a harem route, the series should be much, much longer. And the issue is, it's like with Gero ending up with Kinasaki. There are things that, with the overall story, make total sense, and things that are also not very good with that. And the harem route is much the same way. Now, when it comes to Gero and Kinasaki, I wouldn't say that the Marriage Toxin fandom has become toxic, for lack of a better word, or anything, but I think you do have like those sorts of bad actors coming in. Like, I've seen people thinking, oh wow, this franchise is so homophobic, the fan base is so homophobic with people that don't want them to end up together, when shipping is not, what's the word I'm looking for here? Advocacy? No, that's not really what I'm looking for. But it's one of those things where people will be really weird and creepy about fictional lesbian romance, and then be like, oh man, people are such bigots whenever they speak out against our behavior. And it's like, no, you're being really, really creepy about the prospect of fictional lesbians. That's the people are having issues with your behavior. And it's one of those things where you're talking about a series where most people, Kinasaki wins like every character poll. Kinasaki is the most popular character, and most people don't have a problem with Kinosaki ending up with Gero. In fact, it's maybe one of, if not the most popular ships, and people who do want a harem route would be including Kinosaki in that. Again, I think that somebody in the comments said that people in the Japanese side of things still are hoping for the harem route. They just view Nasu's version of it as like this perverse version of it. And of course, everybody's including Kinosaki in it. But one of the things is, if Gero ends up with Kinosaki, it makes sense in the sense that we are, fighting against, he just wants a happy life with someone he loves. And that could be somebody who is a man or a woman, but Gero is fighting against his family and his family's wishes, so it totally makes sense. But then on the other side, if that was the case, then using his sister and the fact that his sister is a lesbian and can't provide an heir, it kind of takes away from Gero's journey, that he would be like, oh, also I am going to be in the same situation as my sister. And there's also the fact that people have pointed at Gero being like, no, that would be foretiming for talking about how the harem route is bad. And I also think that from what we learned from Nasu's plan and all, I think the harem route is being presented as bad. I don't necessarily think that's where we're going, but Gero also hasn't really had any serious romantic moments or feelings toward Kinosaki in the way that he has female characters. So the thing is that while I think the relationship is very, very good and we can turn it romantic, where we are now, nothing is explicitly, expressly romantic in a way that would trump his relationship to Arashiyama or his relationship to Ureshino, both of which I think are more developed, maybe arguably more developed in general, but at least more developed as romances or potential romances. So there are pros and cons for Gero and Kinosaki ending up together, and I think it's the same with the harem route. Of course, Gero has said that he wasn't interested in it, but also it's the bad guy's plan, so I just don't think it's happening. But the issue that I have is, I think we run into more writing issues if we don't go harem route. I think if we don't go harem route, the series needs to be much, much longer, because if we're not going harem route, if that is the bad guy's plan and we are totally rejecting that, which makes sense, I think it makes sense to completely reject that and for him to end up with one person. But if that's the case, the writing has done a terrible, terrible job of eliminating waifu candidates. And one of my biggest fears in that sense is we get to the ending, and the ending is just Gero picks somebody. Let's say Gero picks Kinosaki. And then it's like, okay, what happens to Arashiyama? Like, and all the development there, or Ureshino, it will feel very hollow that it's just like, okay, I'm picking this one person. Everybody else just go on with your lives then. After all the time we've spent building up their relationships, I think it makes more sense to sort of write some of these romances out. And I thought we were giving some characters some outs, but then we have something like Akakura really finally hit the point where she is like, I love Gero and I want to express my feelings toward him. And then she gets kidnapped. So it's like, okay, well, now she can't work through those feelings anymore. She can't maybe meet anybody else besides him. And that kind of screws that over. So I think we just need more time to eliminate these characters if we're not doing the harem route. So it just, both him ending up with Kinosaki and him with the harem route, there are parts where the writing would struggle if he does choose that route, but the writing would struggle if he doesn't choose that route right now. Also, with Kinosaki, you know, I would very much not describe Marriage Toxin as boys' love, even if Gero ends up with one person and that one person is Kinosaki, because most of the series, we're at 171 chapters now, most of the series, and by the time I finish the video, 174, it has just been straight romance. And Kinosaki isn't written in a way that your typical boys' love romances are written. Again, I will watch any kind of romance or give any kind of romance a chance or read any kind of romance. I have read boys' love romance on the channel before, and this isn't really written that way. Kinosaki is written with the same tropes and stereotypes that a typical female lead would be written with. So I would not really say that structurally it is boys' love. It's like one of those things where there's a huge asterisk. It would be just boys' love in technicality only with Gero ending up with Kinosaki. It wouldn't be that way in a typical writing sense. But also, what I was going to say is, even if Kinosaki doesn't end up with Gero, it is presumptuous of all of us, because Kinosaki's been written sort of very much in femme form. We have seen very little masculine Kinosaki. It is pretty presumptuous to assume that Kinosaki would end up with a guy. However, if not Gero-kun, I've said for a long, long time now, I think it's very, very cute the way that Leo likes Kinosaki, and I would, if Kinosaki doesn't end up with Gero, I think that Leo and Kinosaki would be super, super, super cute. I really, really like the idea of that. Again, if Kinosaki isn't the only choice or isn't part of the harem, that's where I would go for Kinosaki. But again, it is presumptuous to assume that Kinosaki would be gay. Same thing with Gero-kun. It's not homophobic to look at him throughout the series so far and the way that he has viewed Kinosaki versus the way that he's viewed the female waifu candidates and just be like, Gero might just be straight. This guy might just be straight. So it might just not work out between him and Kinosaki that way. But either way, again, it just turned into a long intro because of talking about these relationships and talking about the issues I'm having with the main overarching story. And one more thing, when it comes to eliminating the characters and stuff, some of the relationships are just written so much more strongly than others. Like Kinosaki is a fairly strong relationship with Gero. I would say maybe on the same level as the relationship with Ushio is written, but the relationship between Gero and Kinosaki just isn't explicitly romantic. The relationship that they have, at least from Gero's side of things, there are times when he does or doesn't include Kinosaki among the other waifu candidates, is just still up in the air whether his feelings are romantic or not. Again, they can turn romantic, but where we are now, it's still up in the air, and I think that romantically or as a relationship, we have stronger written relationships, maybe with Akakura. Akakura really does like Gero, but I would say with Ureshino and with Arashiyama. But then we run into some issues where, could we not start writing Himekawa out of things? Because Himekawa has gotten so little development. She barely showed up at the beginning, and in the beginning we are still really working out Gero and Kinosaki's relationship and their characters. And during that time, we get just a teeny bit of Himekawa, and then we come back later and we get a Himekawa focused arc. But in the Himekawa focused arc, she spends like no time with Gero. I'm not sure if they spent like any time together during that arc. So we could maybe start moving to write her out of things. And then Hime has gotten even less development, but at least arguably. But on top of getting arguably less development, I really didn't think about it this way until I saw somebody else saying it last month. But the things that Hime likes about Gero, that's not even him. That's not his personality. That's not his behavior. Like the things that she's fantasizing about, the things that she is liking, that's not even Gero. That's not him. That's not how he speaks or acts or behaves. That's not him. So she doesn't even like him. And also she hasn't gotten much development. So right here, what we're doing, we're presumably getting more of her. If we are developing her relationship with Gero further, then the series either needs to be really, really long, or we need to go harem route. If we're not using this development of Hime to eliminate her as a waifu candidate, and instead of eliminating her, we're deepening her legitimacy as a waifu candidate, then I feel like, again, we need to go harem route, or we need to really, really extend the series. Because again, one of my biggest fears is just, oh hey, I'm gonna end up with Ureshino. And then all the other waifu candidates are like, okay. And that's where the series ends for them. The same thing goes for any of them, with Arashiyama, with Kinosaki. If he just picks one and the rest are like, alright. I mean, to a certain point that's realistic, but how much in Marriage Toxin has been realistic? It's a very odd series. Well, that's partially realistic. It just is not satisfying for the time that we've spent with the characters. So, long Haku intro. I'll divide this off chapter-wise from the others. But let's go ahead and start reading 171, because this video, after long-ass discussion, is going to be really long itself. So we're starting off still within the dream of Hime. The one and only maiden who can resist the sweet dream remains trapped in her beautiful ideal world. Wow, this is awesome. And then we have Immorta Highland. What have you? So dramatic. Alright, now scoot over a bit. And she takes the same side seat beside him. Ready? Say beef. And we see the picture snapped of the two of them. Don't get the wrong idea. I just wanted a photo with my fave, but there'd be some dead space, so I figured I might as well include you. And bourgeoisie DJ hiking acrylic stand. Oh, yeah, that DIY Candy Expo? Not gonna lie, that was pretty interesting. I also had a blast when you took me to that haunted house. I'd never been to one before. You know, you're the only one I can have so much fun with like this. Really now? And is she remembering Ureshino on the phone? No, Hikaru. How'd things go with the other girls? And she starts to see the puppet marks. I mean, Ureshinonchu and the others. Makoto? Wait, Gero, look outside. Huh? And we have this gorgeous full page of the sunset. Beautiful. Wouldn't it be pure bliss if things could go on like this every day for the rest of our lives? Well, I guess. Well, I know I'd love nothing more than to spend my whole life with you like this. And I guess it is true that what's bad about Nasu's plan isn't the harem route necessarily. What's bad about the plan is that the consent is taken away here. This is non-consensual. They are trapped in a dream, only seeing what they want to see. Showing these ladies such a dream requires an emotion that can act as a core for it, In this case, that would be their absolute love for Hikaru-sama. So that's why. The moment they realized their feelings for Hikaru-sama, okay, I guess I really do like Gero. It'd be so nice if we could always be together. From here on, I'm gonna be a tiger. You better prepare yourself, Hikaru Gero. Then I think I'm in love with Gero. They had feelings before, but I guess this is the pivotal moment for them. But again, we're establishing that they do all actually love him and actually want to be together with him. But is that why Himi's so different? Because Himi hasn't really had that moment yet? She only had one arc. She barely knew the guy. So, if this is the case, they do all love him. You've gotta think, if they do all truly love him like this, harem root or make the series long enough for them to fall out of love with him? I don't know. Unless we are just setting up for heartbreak for most of our main cast. The moment they realized their feelings for Hikaru-sama, you invited them to the Gero residence. Yes, I'm not so boorish as to invite someone who clearly has no love for him. What about her? She certainly does appear to have budding feelings of attraction for him, but her relationship with Hikaru-sama is not yet, well, it would be very presumptuous of me to expect all manner of circumstances to align perfectly with my vision. Hikaru-sama's imprisonment in the sanctuary wasn't exactly within my projections. That frighteningly brilliant marriage swindler certainly threw a wrench in my plans. Be that as it may, it would appear that this lady is also, Gero, I don't mind, if it's you, you can take my soul, fully recognized her love for him within the dream. It is finally beginning. The next era of the human zoo, newly converted into Hikaru-sama's bedchambers. They're basically doing like the Chinese noble court dramas. And we get a spread showing everyone. In order to ensure that these ladies will have a pleasant stay in these chambers, I've presented them with these dreams of sharing their days here with Hikaru-sama. Now then, Teruaki-kun, I have a question for you. What last extra mile do you still think is necessary for these bedchambers? Huh? Extra mile? Oh, what a shame. Wrong answer. It would seem you have yet to truly grasp the essence of the human heart. These ladies' feelings for Hikaru-sama are genuine. Thus, they will also experience the loneliness of being away from him, and feel jealousy toward the other girls. Such dissatisfaction will continue to grow and eventually lead to the breakdown of their relationships. That would be too much for me to bear. You know what? Is this actually leading to the harem route? Because if his view of the problem is that they'll be jealous of each other, that makes it sound like the solution is for them to not be jealous of each other. That's what it makes it seem like the solution is. And so, to prevent them from harboring such emotions, I shall have the other ladies spend their time away from Hikaru-sama as dolls. Things are about to get busy, Teruaki-kun. Aren't you excited? This is my master plan. We shall call it Project Multi-Wedding. Happy endings are fabricated. But, so, I don't know, it's such a lame master plan. Why? Nasu's just so lame. I'm so done with him as a villain. He's awful. And you know what? This is a Jump Plus series. And the typical long-running Jump series, you know, the usual for the ending, the norm for the ending, is that the main villain usually is disappointing or outright sucks, and the ending definitely sucks. That's true of pretty much every long-running Jump series. Pretty much every long-running Jump series has a bad ending. So, if MARRIAGETOXIN does have a bad ending, it is the norm for Jump series, long-running Jump series. It is the norm. I guess even the short ones have bad endings because they get axed at like chapter 20. So, it could follow the norm, or if it has a good ending, it actually breaks the norm. But with that aside, that's one chapter down, I suppose, so let's go read 172. 172 starts with a happy polygamous marriage with all the ladies, and we have a frontispiece with Hikaru-sama at the center. The harem route revealed Project Multi-Wedding. And again, the things that are bad about this aren't even the fact that he would end up with multiple of them. The thing that would be bad about this is the fact that they're forced into it as dolls. Because it's like, it feels like the alternative is more strongly that they just, and it almost makes me think, does the series end with him not picking somebody? The series ends with him like, I'll still keep working toward my happy marriage and we'll see who I end up with eventually. And it's left vague. Do we just not get an answer? Do we just think somewhere in the far off future he explores all of the options and finally settles with somebody and it's just left as a vague ending? We don't know who it is, or it's left up for us as an audience to decide who we think it is that he actually does end up with in the end. Because it doesn't seem like we have an out where he picks just one of them and it feels natural, given that we spent the last chapter highlighting that they do all actually have a bond of love. That is nothing but the convenient fantasy love story of a deluded fool. And again, presenting it this way, so it was being presented as a bad thing before the harem route, I felt like, because of the way he was trying to force it, but now saying, a happy polygamous marriage where he's at the center, that's just a fool's dream. But he is the main villain who is trying to force them together, so it seems like that makes it seem like it is the positive option. That makes it seem like it is the good route. Try to put yourself in each of their shoes and imagine how they would feel. The emotional security and sweet whispers that Hikaru-sama brings them will all turn into pain once they're alone. They'll be plagued with thoughts of how he must be doing the same with the others, or even more. And at the end of it all will be Hikaru-sama, mired in hostility and conflict. I mean, thus far, we haven't really seen, and again, there's also the fact that thus far we haven't really seen that from the waifu candidates. He's bringing up a problem that we can assume, even, again, last video, I was like, we could assume that if he ended in the harem route, there'd be problems in the future, though I guess you could say that about any relationship. But it's a problem we can assume, though we haven't in the narrative so far actually seen. So, again, maybe building it up would have been helpful. The mere thought of it pains my heart so. There's also the option of establishing a hierarchy, not unlike that of historical imperial harems, but that can hardly be called happiness. I also considered making more of Hikaru-sama so there'd be enough of him to go around for everyone. But the pitiful sight of those ladies showering their love on a puppet with no warmth to offer would have been too much to bear. Do you see it now? Only an irredeemable fool would ever seriously wish for a happy polygamous marriage. Again, though, the main antagonist saying this makes it seem like that is the good route. That makes it seem like Hikaru would be the irredeemable fool. Project Multi-Wedding. And that irredeemable fool is me. What? I mean, technically, but it isn't a happy polygamous marriage. It's just puppets. I shall have them live out their happy polygamous marriage right here in these bedchambers. And it isn't a polygamous marriage because each of them individually views it as just a 1v1. A 1v1. When they cannot be with the real Hikaru-sama, they can spend their days enjoying their ideal married life within a lovely dream. If they can become such dolls in the meantime, then no one would have to be hurt. I can understand your apprehension. You think that if Hikaru-sama does not approve, then it'll be all for naught, yes? I have, of course, already taken necessary measures for that possibility, and we see Kinosaki. But will things really sail along that smoothly? These are all ladies who caught Hikaru-sama's eye. Will they really dance exactly to Sensei's tune? I would love to spend the rest of my life with you just like this. Oh, really? So again, is this going to be where she actually truly falls in love with him by breaking out of it? Because she's in love with him, not this fake vision of him. And if so, where on earth does that leave us? Oh, really? So what of it? For real? The air here's getting a bit too intense. And also, can I say that I just don't like the conflict that is being presented by Nasu. We didn't need this conflict. We could have had him again spending time with each of them individually in the various arcs, going through the various arc stories, some of them dropping out here and there until he eventually, or, you know, one relationship just stands out among the others, and he just naturally ends up with one person in these stories as we're going along, as we had been going along. But to bring up this conflict, the problems with a harem route weren't other than him saying, you know, I don't really want that. We didn't see jealousy or competition among them. We didn't see like Ushio trying to sneak in and take out Himakawa or anything. We did not see any of that. So we didn't need this conflict. And the way that it's written with Nasu trying to force things, but also trying to uh trying to go philosophical on the ideas of this stuff is I don't, overwritten is maybe not a good word, but it's silly in not a good way. It's just so unnecessary. Again, so much of it kneecaps the story that had been told the entire time. I just think that this entire conflict is bad and poorly written. I think Nasu is awful as a villain and really poorly written. Oh, really? So what of it? For real, the air here's getting a bit too intense. It's been a year since we started going out, and 6 months since we started living together. I'm thinking it's about time to take our next step together. Let's get married, and he proposes. But again, it's all in the dream. What do? I'm so happy. The last time I felt this way was when I first realized my feelings for him. And if they're in this dream, how does that connect with them actually having any relationship with the real Hikaru-sama making visits to them unless he's also going to make Hikaru into a puppet and just have him live in a dream? Because this moment means nothing for Hikaru. Back then, too, Gero's warmth made me feel so at ease. Thank you. That's a nice ring, but I can't accept it. Makoto, I'm set on my own feelings, but what about you? Well, your uncompromising integrity always takes my breath away. Every single day I spend with you. It's the same for the others, though, no? Why did you choose me instead of Ureshinonchu, or any of the other girls? I really hate myself for blurting this out now. Does there really have to be a reason? You know, no matter how hard I try, I can't seem to recall any moment when I truly felt like we connected from the depths of our soul. It's true that the memories are there, but... So is she going to realize she doesn't actually have feelings for him this way? We eliminate her from the candidacy, and then we can continue on with the story. That might be a good way to go about it. Like I said, we either need to start eliminating, maybe with Himi, or go harem route. So, again, and that's one of the things, if Hikaru does just pick somebody and we end the series there would have to be a really, really good reason for him to pick that one and not the others. And I don't think we necessarily have that, even with Kinosaki. Even with Urashiyama, who's maybe the female waifu candidate who is the most developed, I don't think he has a specific reason to choose them only and deny the others. And we kind of need that, like she's asking him for. Makoto, do you remember how we first met? That can only be called fate. You're also the only one I've ever seen in a wedding dress. And again, we run into the issue of the levels of development. Is that what I was about to say? Like, because, again, all they have to... Or no, I was going to say we run into the issue of this isn't really Hikaru, this isn't him. This isn't how he acts. This isn't necessarily what he would say. This is just a dream, and it's manipulated by Nasu. So this isn't really development for their relationship. This isn't deepening her feelings for him or anything. And the things that she likes about him, at least here, aren't him. This isn't him. Since that moment, I already knew that you were the one I wanted to spend my life with. And again, we see it with the eyes and the bits of line that she was seeing before. Shut up, you fake. Fake? There's no way that Gero would come up with such a shallow proposal. I can tell. This is most likely a dream born from my own weakness. The real Gero would be much lamer. He's spineless and he'd fumble things, but when it really counts, he'll hit you with the most soulful words that'll pierce your heart. She looks back and sees her reflection. Ah, how happy I would have been if only things could just go on like this. But there's no way this sickening lie could ever resonate with my soul. And we see the pin start breaking as she breaks her way out. I want to get out here soon so I can tell the real Gero how I feel. No lie, however perfect, can fool this feeling. Again, the relationship is the least developed, but this is development in that she respects, even though he isn't her ideal type, she respects his honesty. That's what she loves about him. How, even though he is a goofball and awkward, and he wouldn't really know the right words to say, that's him. She likes the honesty. And so she wouldn't fall for this lie. But, you know, where does that take us from here? It would be really cool of her if she can kind of help the others to escape. And Teruaki is gonna play into this, it seems. I just really think we need a lot more. I really think we need a lot more. The way that we're going. Unless unless the two options, our rejection of the forced harem route is the non-forced harem route, or we're going to end at a point where who he chooses is left up to interpretation. I never thought of that before being in the middle of this video, but now being in the middle of this video, I do see that as an option. Or not necessarily an option, but a possibility. So, with that aside, let's go to 173. Breaking out of the comfortable dream by her own will and back to reality. We have Himi waking up and realizing the room around her. What is this room? I feel sick. And we have a glimpse of Nasu. That's right. So that guy got me. Cut the crap. You think you can toy with my soul just like that? You're not getting away with this. And he tackles her. Good night. You. Apologies. It completely slipped my mind. Did you break free of it? You did break free of it once, didn't you? The ghost users, or rather, curse users technique. I'm not gonna let you have your way. I shall present you with a stronger one this time. And she just goes back into the dream. Since no one else will give me the credit I'm due, I suppose I have to say it myself. My greatest strength lies in my mental resilience. And again, why do Nasu's powers work like this? He can just put people to sleep and stuff. And I guess maybe he's just, again, using curse user techniques, but I don't know, it's lame. No matter what difficulty I'm faced with, I always find a way to use it as a stepping stone and rise back up. And he laughs. One could say that Hikaru-sama and I are alike in that regard, no? And now we have Hikaru and Kinosaki coming in with scuba gear. They're going to meet up with Naruko, who's meditating under the sea. Then we've got Gero-kun, Kirito-san. We have clashing It feels like we are just speed running collecting everyone, aren't we? And if that's the case, and we speed run collect everybody, and what's his face's hand is like a controller now. So we just speed run collect everybody. This does feel like we're going toward the end then. If we speed run collect everybody as our allies and go rescue everyone. But it's such a bummer for her to break out and then for that to not go anywhere with her potentially rescuing the others. Sensory blocking headgear. Those two are currently relying on bloodlust alone to perceive each other's presence. He vanished. Gero-san's bloodlust disappeared into thin air. Kirito. And the gear comes off. He blocks. And we have Leo and Miyoki. Welcome. He collects them. So, what's the deal, partner? Why'd you round up all of us top-tier specialists? And we've got Team Gero-kun. Nailed that. Are you watching, honey? Kirosaki just eating. So cute. I'm gonna need your help to bring down my clan. Top-tier, tried-and-true specialist dream team assemble. Again, this does feel like we're just assembling for the end. But assembling for the end while focusing on all of them loving him and also focusing on the main threat to all of them loving him being infighting between them, which we haven't seen any of them do. Just really feels like we're leading to either harem route or vague ending. Well, and again, bring down my clan, but really it's Nasu, who I guess Nasu is now the Gero family, the Nasu family, and the Kirishima family. It's just such a lame villain and finale if it's the case. And also the fact that we're just running through it so quickly. We are rushing through things. But either way, we have one more for the month, so let's go to 174. Final for this month, we have 174. From here on, the Gero family is officially the enemy. I see. So your grandma, the Poison Clan head, and Nasu the doll user did some crazy stuff, huh? Yeah. If I have to crush my own clan to save everyone, I'd do it. I failed to fully grasp what we were getting into, and ended up letting Arashiyama and Ushio walk right into that beginner's trap. And also, I mentioned at the very beginning, the conflict starting from Gero's sister being a lesbian, and so he has to step in order to save her, and so it would be odd for him to end up then just with Kinosaki, but if we completely destroy the underworld's system by the end of this, then, you know, maybe it makes sense. Because, I mean, you think about the underworld right now, and the underworld is essentially just Nasu Tonako, who is now going on her own marriage journey, Gero-kun, and the Arima family. And at the point that we're at, if Tonako goes and follows after love and gives up on the way that the Beast family was doing things, and Gero goes off with his romance, Nasu is defeated, hopefully vanished from existence, more than killed, super killed, extra killed. If Nasu is gone, and then the Arima family might just be the only structure left standing in the underworld. I failed to fully grasp what we were getting into and ended up letting Arashiyama and Ushio walk right into that beginner's trap. But I can't waste time wallowing. This time I swear I'll take them back from Nasu no matter what it takes. I guess you couldn't care less about this, but you're the only guys I can ask to take on such a reckless job. Let me hire you as specialists. I'm willing to swallow up whatever demands you might have. Just please take on this job for me. And the three of them smile. Hella no. Not interested. Hard disagree. Are they gonna all do it because they want to, not because they're being hired, is what they mean? Ugh. Yo, Gero, you're from the top 5 yourself. Don't tell me you don't know what it means to make an enemy out of these clans. Their abilities, scale, and reach are on a totally different level. It doesn't feel like it anymore, because the Kirishima family is just gone. Nasu is just a guy. So no, it doesn't feel like that anymore. It does not feel like their scale and reach are on a different level at all. Get on their bad side once, and odds are they'll back you into a corner till you'd rather be dead. That's true, just like the fallen Fire Clan did to Ushio. To be treated as merely a convenient piece is hella upsetting. Hella upsetting. Why should I sacrifice my precious training time just to take on such a boring job? Right, sorry I asked. Everyone, I heard everything, we have Sota. Aren't you all being too cold? Gero-san, if you'll have me, I'll blow all your enemies away. Izaka, I appreciate the thought, but Kinosaki is just adorable in the background. But you know, partner, as a specialist, no, but as a hella good friend, I can lend you my help. Hey, you stole my line, says Leo. That's exactly what I, the great Leo-sama, was going to say. So there you have it, partner. Flip our positions, and you'd also lend us a hand regardless of payment and whatnot, no? Yeah, I'm honestly happy to hear that, but as you guys pointed out, my clan is just a hella moment. If we simply stand by and watch as you march straight into death, then I can never again reach the pinnacle of hella relaxation. I'm not interested in you as a client. However, if you come to me as my rival, then I shall fight by your side. That is the essence of being an iron user. The crisis of one's rival is the crisis of oneself. Oh, yeah, and what about you, honey? I'm coming along, of course. It's my duty to see Gero-kun's marriage journey through to the end. Should have told me that first, partner. Leave the bodyguard duty to me. Ha 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 ha. Kinosaki, Naruko, Beppu, Kirito. I couldn't ask for more reassuring allies by my side. I'll owe you for this for the rest of my life. And it's interesting that maybe he'll show up here at the end. Peachy was the one-shot protagonist. Then he showed up for the one arc, and I don't even know if we've even referenced Peachy again outside of that arc that I remember. Guys, please stay here for the night. You'll need to discuss your plan of attack, alright? That's a huge help. Thanks. I'll go make you a monster-sized midnight snack right now. Peachy and also Sakazuki isn't being included. He just gave some information. Hella honored to partake in your hospitality. Me for the rest of his life. Does that mean... Then... Okay. Are you for the rest of your life? And we have flustered Kirito. Like, if anything, remember at the beginning when I was like, could Kirito end up being a woman? But whether woman or not, could Kirito end up being a romantic interest? It's cute. But yeah, also, will we see a cameo from Peachy in this final battle? Will we see Sakazuki? Will we see Byakko and Toshiro? Or possibly Tonako? Kazumama as well. So they put Kazumama on babysitting duty before, and I guess Kazumama's still on babysitting duty, but he doesn't ask Kazuma to join the team for the final battle. You found yourself some really great friends, huh? Yeah, meeting them was worth more than even 100 million joys. And we had one arc, really, with Kirito. So it's interesting that Kirito is included, but we don't include Kazuma, who's made some appearances here and there, or Peachy, who had that scene at the end where it's like, oh yeah, I guess maybe I did make some friends or whatever. Oh yeah, what? Okay, they're bringing... Actually, Kinosaki's bringing it up. What about the Windwheel users and Peachy-san? It seems Kazumama and family struck a jackpot deal and are busy with their shipping business. Peachy said he'll come if he can. Okay, so Peachy might just show up then. Thank you so much for coming. I should be the one thanking you. We'll be back again once this is all over. And again, I could see Tonako's marriage journey ending up with Kazumama. We'll be back again once this is all over. Gotta be your treat next time, partner. I'm hella in. Gah, isn't it always? I want to go too. You people have no sense of crisis. And we have our final team heading off. But wait, why are the doll user and Poison Clan head working together? Could it be love? Nah, couldn't be, right? And now we're off to the family's home. And we do have Nasu and Kirara sleeping in the same room. Unless she is also being puppeted, in which case 3 of the 5 families, again, are all just being puppeted by him. He opens his eyes, waking up happy beside each other. It couldn't be, right? Okay, so that's where we end with the month. I like our little Avengers Assemble moment with all the characters and their relationships and all. Again, some of them stronger than others. And I feel like this is the end. This is the last arc. Probably. It would feel very weird, wouldn't it? It would feel very weird to do this and then have a bunch more arcs. Wouldn't that be weird? But we just spent time reiterating how much everyone actually loves him. So it feels like, with that in mind, I mentioned it a bunch throughout the video, vague ending is maybe a real possibility, or harem root but good. Harem root but good is also a potential ending here. Because if he picks just one, Kinosaki or otherwise, if he picks just one, like we brought up with Hime, he has to have a good reason why that one specifically and not others. Also, Kinosaki still has some mystery going on. Kinosaki, I'm just now remembering there's mystery that hasn't been brought up there. I mean, if it's anything like the Kirishima family, they might just speedrun it in half a chapter. But we've speedrun a lot here. It seems like we're going to the ending. Who knows how long the ending will be, because we have all these characters that might end up in fights. But it is kind of disappointing. They're like, oh man, the families are so huge and everything. We have seen so little of them. Like, and Needle User, Bug User, any of the branches of the Poison family, are they really going to side against Gero? I don't think they would. Teruaki even, I don't think, is going to side against Gero. He's definitely been set up to turn on Nasu. He doesn't feel like he has any real reason to be loyal to Nasu at all over Gero. Unless they're just straight up being puppeted, in which case that is so shallow. It is so shallow if everyone's reasoning is just that they're being puppeted. It's so shallow. Nasu is such an awful main antagonist. He sucks. And again, not in that he's really well written and I love to hate him. It's like, no, he's just straight up a poorly written main antagonist. He's a really bad main antagonist. This final conflict is not good, because the final conflict is, oh man, we're being forced into a harem root and puppeted into it, and the reasoning behind us being puppeted into it is because we all do love him, and I guess the 6, it's just because they love him, it's not because of anything specific about them as individuals. So it's because, oh, they couldn't be together without being jealous of each other, which is not something that before this we have established. Man, this final conflict sucks. Nasu is awful. And again, if we are ending here, it is normal for Jump, and maybe long-running shonen as a whole. It is normal for the ending to suck. It is normal for the final conflict to suck. It is normal for the final villain to suck. So if it does, this is normal. I gotta remember, I don't think there's been a good ending for a long-running shonen, probably. I have to remember that. But man, I'm so disappointed. I love the characters that we have, like our main group and all. Again, even if they probably all needed more time. We're nearly 200 chapters in, but it feels like they needed more time. If you were to ask me ending chapter number, I'm guessing 196. Even that might be too long. It might be even like 192 or 194. I am going to guess 196 is the final chapter, where I'm at right now. But even then, we're speedrunning so much. We're speedrunning so much that it might even be shorter. But I think we still got stuff to explain. We're still probably going to get things we don't expect with some of the fights. And also a lot of the fight chapters do tend to be really short. 196, current prediction, final chapter. Well, in before one of you comments, hey, 176 just came out and it's the last chapter. But either way, hope you enjoyed my video, even though it was a lot of complaining, but I feel like the complaining's justified. And the intro is sort of meandering, and I probably didn't do a great job at explaining a lot of my thoughts and opinions on the characters and their relationships. I probably did a terrible job. I'm horrible at putting my thoughts into words on the spot on camera. So I guess that's where we end. Like if you like the video, comment down there to tell me what you thought of these chapters, my thoughts and reactions. Subscribe for more marriage talks and much more on the channel. If you want to help support the channel by sharing around or dropping a super thanks, it's appreciated. If you want to help support the channel by becoming a member or patron, hit join down below to become a member. Go to patreon.com/HakuofTheTubes, or a link will be in the description. You get your name at the end of videos and get One Piece Bingo a bit early. Thank you to people who are already members and patrons. Thank you to chosen regulars Evan Hawley and Bertie Wooster, Magical Girls, DD-Man, and Maru, Cheerleading Student, David Langstaff, Slayer Candidates, SG and Stan Cedar, and Pure Element Paterial. Thank you all so much for your support. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all next time.